But I also want to talk about the dream space and how the dream space overlaps and gives us direct access to these realms. And this is how a lot of people are recognizing the kinds of shenanigans going on in these realms, is because they're able to step past the human fields, the human perception fields of the dream space. And the dream space is also the ancestral space. Okay, because as soon as we open our capacity beyond the linear, the very first frequency we experience is that of our ancestors, that of our heritage that exists beyond time and space, beyond the linear. Okay, so it's really, really potent to have a good connection with that nesting doll, because that's where a lot of really powerful guides are going to come from that ancestral realm. And we need guides in our dream space, because our dream space is getting messed with. Now, at first I thought that it was the La Cucaracha and the Jibbity Jab dance that was putting holographic overlays in the dream space. Because we had a person within, two people actually, within Lightbody that decided to dance the Jibbity Jab jig, and we literally found a holographic overlay obscuring the planet. Like, it was trying to mimic the frequency of the realm of the mother, the Pachamama. And this is where it became easy to recognize, is because when you work a lot with that foundation, the slightest little tweak, it's like there's a sense that something's not right, because you're so familiar with it. And it's the same thing with the ancestor realm. You become so familiar with those energies and the beings that guide you, that you are highly attuned to any kind of level of shenanigans, most levels of shenanigans. Now, the technology has gotten really advanced, so, it's definitely, it's kind of like the scammers and the spammers. It's like they incrementally get a little bit more sophisticated as time goes by. I'm sorry, I shifted here. So I was aware of it back then, and then the voice to skull technology kicked on real strong too. That was also very active. But now, as we go deeper and more expansive into these places, I realize that the shenanigans goes even beyond that. It's much older. The dream space is, well, we'll just call it the Wild West. It is the Wild West. And there's nothing you can't touch within the dream space, and there's nothing that can't touch you. And that's the important thing. Understanding it's a two-way street. And this is another layer of why working with the ancestors is so important, because when you are heavily protected in the ancestors realm, there's only so much that can actually reach back and touch you. Unless you call it in, unless you say yes, unless you go looking for it, then, gloves are off, game is on. And these beings are highly, highly sophisticated. These beings have been working with humanity and the sorcerers of humanity for many hundreds and thousands of years. Okay, like hundreds of thousands, like 250, 300,000. They've been working with the dream space of humanity for a very long time. And many of the sorcerers of this realm allied with them for certain kinds of power. Now, the sorcerers of this realm still exist. They're still here. You can still find them in the dream realm. You can still contact any being you want of this realm, that's in a human body of this realm with the dream realm. The point is, though, why? Why would you want to do that? Do you want, and this is something that I have a difficult time explaining, but I think I might have the words. Our dream time is another reality. It's the precursor reality to this reality. So whatever goes on in dream time, it takes a while to track it, but it does manifest. The energy of it manifests here in the 3D, absolutely. Sometimes it takes a while. So, for example, it was It was last. So it was in January, a year and a half ago, year and 18 months ago. I had this dream that gave me very specific feelings and messages that were with it that I found confusing. I didn't understand, but I knew it was really significant that I had that dream at that time. So I also had a different kind of a new ancestor. An ancestor was taking on a new form, and he was very strong, very aggressive. He was like a super potent wild man warrior type, and it was taking me a minute to be able to just harmonize with that energy and really get what was going on. So these dreams were happening, and I realized just last week that the energy of those dreams manifested. Absolutely, it just took a year and a half to manifest, and that's because of the energy has to go through all these fields. It has to percolate through all these nesting doll fields for the manifestation to occur in the here and now. And it came down to the ancestors were pretty much in demand that a certain person be cut out of my life that I didn't want to cut out. And of course, when the word is spoken, your ego driver doesn't get to choose. You have to go along with it, because it's these other nesting dolls that are creating this reality, not the ego driver. So that was a rather rude awakening. That I know, but I didn't want to know. So those are those blind spots. So it takes time for the manifestation to reach this reality. And once we understand that, we would pay more attention to our dreams. They wouldn't just seem like random stories that trigger us. When we track them over time, we start to see how the energy manifests in our here and now. And this is why the dream time overlay is worthwhile for certain beings, because we can start engaging with a certain kind of energy, like an inorganic AI or technical intelligence type energy. We can start engaging with that in our dream realm, and the engagement of that in dream realm with that technical or non-organic energy consciousness weaves because we had that engagement, it brings it into this here and now. You see what I mean? I'm giving big secrets away, guys. This is big stuff. Now, there is a rub. And the rub is that if you are going to use your dream time for, working out figuring out who you are on a subconscious level, you are going to figure out who you are on a subconscious level. And it's going to change things in just this human frame up of reality. It's not going to change things in a way where you're going to shift this, do your part in shifting this reality completely. And that's because you are not your ego driver. You are not who you think you are. Yes, understand thyself. This is important. Understand thyself. But you understand thyself so you don't get stuck engaging in it. So you can see the difference between the true, authentic you, that voice, that energy, that truth, and who you think you are, what's been cultivated by this illusion delusion matrix. It's a very, very fine-tuned practice, but it is worthwhile, because, like, for example, in our dream groups, we've been tracking together for so long. It's like we are actually getting past the human shenanigans and into the deeper work in just a single session. It's like it doesn't take 4 weeks of tracking a themes within dreams to get there. It's like we get there in an hour and a half, which is a miracle. It's amazing that happens. And it's getting shorter and shorter and shorter. So this ancestor work brings these really powerful guides to help you step outside of the human programming. And it takes forgiveness. There's certain things that hook us up that really, get our goat, so to speak. And those are the ones where we need to bring healing and alchemy to those pieces so they don't get our goat like that. And then we can expand our consciousness beyond that. So these are very exciting times, because there are very powerful energies reaching their critical mass that have and are now anchored here in this reality, and changing they're changing this place. They're changing the collective field. They're collapsing by just existing these false energy grid systems.